I'm Michael McKnight. The first time that I can remember leaving our property for any length of time, my introduction to the big wide world, was when I was about 5 and my mom got a job as a bookkeeper down at the sand plant. And I was taken to Doris, the babysitter. Now Doris was a wonderful woman. She raised generations of children in that little town that was close to us. But this was, to me, all a new, strange world. And while I was excited about meeting other children, of course, Doris was another matter. First of all, she was tall. I mean, she towered over both of my parents. She was about 5'9", and which was tall for one. And plus, add on that, the hair that never moved. I didn't know what hairspray was. This was, why did her hair never move? I'd never seen this before in my life. My grandmother had a hairnet, but this was just weird. And the first inkling that I had something was maybe a little different with this woman came at mealtime when I was served a sandwich that was square. Now, I don't mean just that the crust was cut off. No, it was perfectly square. I was later to learn that all of her food was served in the same angular way. She served ice cream. It was always Neapolitan. She would cut it off the end of the carton so it had 3 stripes. She didn't use a scoop. When she served scrambled eggs, perfect square with a perfect circle of ketchup, oh so very 1960s, in the center of it. This is odd. But okay. And then came the day after I'd been there a while. And the way Doris's house was set up, she had, they called it the family room, and there was a large arch between it and the dining room. And the family room was where the kids that she took care of played when it was inclement weather outside, and then I'm sure at night that's where her family sat and watched TV. And I'm sitting out in the family room, and Doris sat down with her 3 daughters and her husband to eat. And before they ate, they all lowered their heads and began, Dear Father. Well, I'd never heard of grace. I didn't know what is grace. I'd never experienced this before in my life. All I know is I'm looking up at these people, and from where I was sitting, they were talking to their plates. Okay. Now I'm getting a little concerned. And you know how little boys are, they scowl a lot. And okay, she talks to her plates. And life goes on. And some time later, now remember, my grandfather was a pilot, and so when I found a dead bird, to me, it was an airplane. If, wings are all like this, it didn't matter. To me, it's an airplane. I didn't get toys, so I played at home. I played with what I found, so I did so at Doris's. I found this dead bird, and so to me, it's an airplane. So I'm running around the yard, making appropriate airplane noises. And Doris used to watch the children through her kitchen window, and she caught sight of me, came running out, hooting and hollering. Stop it right now. You can't do that. Well, why? Well, you have to bury the poor bird so it will go to heaven. Oh. Well, Kennedy had been shot by this time, and we'd all seen the funeral on TV. So we played funeral, me and the other kids, and we got a little box, and we sang Glory, Hallelujah, whatever words, however we got it. We sang anyway. And we buried under this little oak tree, and we made a little grave with Spanish moss around it. But I didn't trust this Doris person. She conversed with dinnerware. So about 3 days later, I went back and dug up the hole, and that bird wasn't in heaven. It was right there where we left it. At this point in time, I am certain that Doris is obviously deranged. She is insane, and I am in danger. Now, I knew not to tell my parents. They were idiots. Who's going to listen to them? So I waited for Grandma to come visit, and luckily she was coming to visit on the very next weekend. And she asked me, after they'd gotten settled, how do you like Doris? And I told her, I said, well, Doris is crazy. Because I knew Grandma would get to the bottom of things, you see. Doris is crazy. Well, why do you say Doris is crazy? So I explained to her about the hair that didn't move, and the square food, and talking to her plates, and of course the piece de resistance of my entire story, my proof positive about the bird that wasn't in heaven, it was right there where we left it. And Grandma looked at me with that look that all grandmothers have, and she said, oh baby, Doris isn't crazy. Doris is Methodist.